If your nerve deny you, go above your nerve. Emily Dickinson and Cheryl Strayed.
Wild is a book, first. Cheryl Strayed wrote her memoir when she hiked the Pacific Crest Trail in order to change her life.
I read the end of the book and I was like, I have to make this movie. A mutual friend introduced me to Bruna Papandrea and we just hit it off. First piece of material I sent her was Wild.
We had the creative autonomy to develop the script a little bit outside the system.
I, from the outset, trusted them to bring this story to life with integrity.
I'm sorry you have to walk 1,000 miles just to...
Finish that sentence.
Happy trail, Cheryl.
It was a huge physical undertaking for me to hike that trail.
What have I done?
I turned to the trail at a time in my life when I didn't really know how to move forward.
You're doing good, Strayed. At this rate, you'll be finished in about 20 years.
Wild is the story of a woman who essentially walks herself back to life.
It's amazing in itself that she walked 1,100 miles. I just think it's even more extraordinary she did it completely alone.
This became a story about what it means to bear the unbearable.
God, I miss you.
Which is something that all of us have to do at least once and sometimes a few times.
Nick Hornby did the adaptation. He did an incredible job of really capturing her voice.
I really felt that I understood Cheryl's character. I mean, I'm not a hiker, I'm not an outdoorsy person, but I thought that one of the things the book did really well was put somebody like me in the shoes of someone like her.
When we presented the script to Jean-Marc Vallée, he and Nick worked together, turning it into Jean-Marc's vision.
There's a multi-layer transformation that an individual goes through, and I think Jean-Marc really likes that sort of storytelling.
Why are you happy? We have nothing, Mom.
No, we're rich in love.
The emotional content in this relationship is the most powerful element in her book.
If there's one thing I can teach you, it's how to find your best self.
It makes me emotional thinking about it. You're basically alone in life, and if you don't save yourself, no one's gonna come riding in on a horse and save you.
Honestly, I think I'm lonelier in my real life than I am out here.
You have the opportunity to wake up to yourself.
You ever think about quitting?
Oh, only once every 2 minutes or so.
I love quitting jobs, quitting marriages.
You regret any of them?
I didn't have a choice. Never been a time when there was a fork in my road.
I hope the film transforms people and heals people in the same way that I think the book has.
I tell people that Wild is about how you can love someone forever.
I think it's beautiful and it's true.
It's real, and the hope that it offers is real.
What if I forgive myself? What if I was sorry? But if I could go back in time, I wouldn't do a single thing differently.
I read the end of the book and I was like, I have to make this movie. I don't know who this woman is, but I need her telephone number immediately. I called her and I said, I don't know who you are, but I feel like I know who you are.
Reese is just wonderful. We spent a lot of time together, just talking about the role, talking about our lives, both of our lives. I think when you're playing somebody else, you have to make it your own.
All right.
One of the things, if you read Cheryl's book, I mean, she is a force. And I feel that about Reese, too.
Cheryl is this little tiny person in this giant space, and the universe is holding her.
I have only another 300 miles left to walk. When I'm done, I'll have to start living.
Jean-Marc and I wanted to make sure that we capture every element of her journey, just how difficult it was, but how inspiring it was, how beautiful it was.
She was at a place in her career where she wanted to just get out of her comfort zone and serve something so beautiful and powerful that she believed in.
It's been so physically challenging, whether it's climbing on the side of a mountain or crossing a freezing cold river and then falling into it, because that's what really happened. I had no idea it was gonna be this hard. You find yourself laughing 1 minute and crying, sobbing in the next take. The only thing that gives me a toehold in the scene is that I look and there's Cheryl and I think, God, she really lived through this.
I gotta go back to that store. I'm gonna walk myself back to the woman my mother thought I was.
One of the things that excited me as a producer was this idea that people would get to see Reese in a way that they had never seen her before.
What is wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? I'm happy. We know she can be funny, but she has that sensibility as an artist that Cheryl writes with.
So why do you think you were destroyed by your mother's death?
Is that your job? To tell the bereaved that they're grieving too much?
That shade looks nice on you.
What do you think?
Oh my. The nicest lipstick in the world can't help a girl if she doesn't take care of her personal hygiene.
Reese agreed, to go without makeup on the trail, just so she could feel, what it is to go on a hike and not focus on looking at herself. She had a real backpack on, which was about 75 pounds.
Guys, this is Cheryl and Monster.
Monster? My pack? It's a very unorthodox system of filmmaking that I've ever done before.
Action. You got some spring in your boots.
It frees you of old patterns that you've had.
This movie was such a great opportunity for people to see her stripped bare, and she's magnificent.
I have the greatest job in the world. To be able to tell stories and tell people's story like Cheryl. I'm really kind of the luckiest gal.
Thank you, I thought over and over again, for everything the trail had taught me. Mysterious, irrevocable, and sacred. How wild it was. Oh my God. What have I done? You can quit anytime. You can quit anytime. You can quit. You can quit anytime.
As the sun comes up, as the moon goes down.
I'm sorry you have to walk 1,000 miles just to...
Finish that sentence.
Makes me.
Why do I have to walk 1,000 miles?
I lost my way.
Happy trails, Cheryl.
My name is Cheryl Strayed. I'm the author of Wild. I turned to the trail at a time in my life when I felt lost, at a place that I didn't really know how to come to terms with the death of my mother.
I miss you. God, I miss you.
When you lose someone very precious like your mother, and it can be heartbreaking and it can change your life.
People grieve in all sorts of different ways.
Is mine so bad?
You're using heroin, and you're having sex with anyone who asks.
She could have definitely gone down that rabbit hole, never have returned. She pulled herself out.
I'm gonna walk myself back to the woman my mother thought I was.
I didn't know about the Pacific Crest Trail until I decided to hike it. I hiked the PCT in the summer of 1995, and I published the book in 2012. It wasn't until years after the hike I saw the metaphorical meaning of the experience. I never, in my wildest imagination, thought that so many people would read my book. The book isn't look at me, I did this incredible thing. I made mistakes, I took too much stuff. The one thing I have to do is pick up the pack and walk. And it's the one thing I can't do. It became about what it means to bear the unbearable.
It's amazing that she walked 1,100 miles. I just think it's even more extraordinary she did it by herself.
The piece of my life that I can't believe I didn't die is the piece that came before it.
You ever think about quitting?
Only once every 2 minutes or so.
It did everything she wanted it to do. Mainly be a life-changing experience.
Come back! If you don't save yourself, no one's gonna come riding in on a horse and save you.
I used to tell people that Wild was about hiking.
Oh, man.
And now I tell people it's about hiking and memories and your childhood and how you can love someone forever.
Three, two, one, action.
Jean-Marc's vision was fantastic because it's full of visual metaphor, which is so important because it is about the deconstructing of things so that they can be built back up.
You get lonely? Honestly, I think I'm lonelier in my real life than I am out here.
Choosing your film is choosing your life. Waking up every day for 2 years, being at the service of a story, so it was an easy choice to be at the service of that particular story.
The director of Wild is Jean-Marc Vallée. He's a fantastically artistic and passionate and emotional director. And a key piece in this story has to do with grief and loss and really coming to terms with the death of my mother.
It was about finding someone who had the sensibility to really understand this woman's journey and to treat it real and authentic.
I really related to what she was going through, so to portray this character on big screen was just an amazing project to be involved in.
Jean-Marc takes us inside her mind and her experiences and her memories, and he captures that so beautifully.
The performances in all of Jean-Marc's movies are first rate and astounding, and so we were very excited by Jean-Marc directing this movie.
The more I direct, the more I try not to interfere, and when I have actors like Reese and Laura Dern, it feels so real and natural to just let them do their thing.
For Jean-Marc and I, we want to capture every element of her journey, how difficult it was, but how inspiring it was, how beautiful it was. And I trusted Jean-Marc implicitly that he feels like he's getting the emotions that he needs for the scene.
Action.
You're using heroin, and you're having sex with anyone who asks. I'm not sure that these things are making you happy.
Right. You know what? It's not gonna work. This is not about talking.
Jean-Marc is so free with exploring, and the camera's moving. You know, the DP has it 1 minute, the director takes it another minute.
It's this incredible shooting style where we have to be prepared 360 degrees around us.
I like to give the actors this freedom to move, so there's an impression of realism that is obvious, and it's easy to capture if you just do it.
This technique is very liberating for everybody. The actors love that because there's only them and the camera, and we're gonna shoot real locations with the available light.
We used a 100% natural approach with the light. So we shot very early in the morning and as late as we could with the sunsets.
It's a real run and gun kind of situation. It's very natural. There's not a lot of setups with lights, obviously, and we think it benefits the style of what this film is.
I think there's such a freedom to that is exactly the right tool for this movie.
He also wants to capture natural beauty as it is.
Whether they be sort of these majestic redwoods or wide open fields of snow, it's just been really inspiring.
This is a journey I took, and this is how it altered me. And so I knew that Jean-Marc was going to get that in every frame of the film.
We try to be faithful and respectful of the story and what she's been through, so you have to serve that, and then the job is done.
If your nerve deny you, go above your nerve. Emily Dickinson. And Cheryl Strayed. Oh my God. What have I done?
Cheryl sent me the book in February of 2012. My agent said, I have no idea if you're gonna like it or not, but I'm just gonna send it to you. I read the first half of the book on a plane and I was just in tears. I was like, I have to make this movie.
I'm sorry you have to walk 1,000 miles just to...
Finish that sentence. Why do I have to walk 1,000 miles?
Happy trails, Cheryl.
It's an amazing love story about a daughter and a mother. Cheryl Strayed hiked the Pacific Crest Trail in order to become the woman her mother thought she was.
Margaret?
Wild is the story of a woman who walks herself back to life.
I hiked the PCT in the summer of 1995 when I was 26, and it was very much a spiritual journey, you know, letting go of romantic love and really coming to terms with the death of my mother.
She was the love of my life. There's something else to say about it.
You're using heroin, and you're having sex with anyone who asks.
It's about how when something in your life happens and you're completely broken, you have to find a way to reconstitute yourself.
I ruined my marriage, and now I'm ruining the rest of my life.
The director is Jean-Marc Vallée. He's a fantastically artistic and passionate director.
Reading the book was an emotional experience, and I knew as a director that I had the kind of material that will allow me to have fun with the language and the medium and play with music and silence and flashbacks and serve Cheryl's story.
The screenplay was written by Nick Hornby, and I really can't think of a writer I respect more than Nick.
I loved the book. I had a very intense reaction to it. There were just so many fantastic elements that seemed to me to cry out for dramatization.
He did an incredible job of really capturing her voice. It's almost like a mystery that unfolds, that you figure out why she's on this long journey.
You ever think about quitting?
Only once every 2 minutes or so.
Reese was the perfect actress to portray Cheryl. She related to the material so much.
One of the things that excited me was that people would get to see Reese in a way that they had never seen her before, emotionally bare.
Nice shot.
Reese is just wonderful. We spent a lot of time together talking about the role, talking about our lives. She's just an incredibly down-to-earth person.
Cheryl, if there's one thing I could teach you, it's how to find your best self.
I am so excited. Laura decided to do this part. We wanted her so bad, and she is just incredible at portraying that ferocity of love.
I have to do everything. I want to do everything.
Getting to play Bobby is a great privilege. It's interesting, you know, I have always played the daughter and have often played the daughter of my actual mother, and so I've considered the mother-daughter relationship a lot, and that is so powerful and moving and inspiring to me as a woman.
Young Cheryl is being played by Bobby Lindstrom, who is the daughter of Cheryl Strayed and Brian Lindstrom. And she is wonderful, and she's very natural, and you can't help but think that her grandmother and her mother are kind of there in the room with you.
And action!
The PCT is such a big character in this movie.
We decided to go along with Mother Nature, who was surrounded with these amazing landscapes, and it gave us a sense of what Cheryl went through.
It was important to go somewhere that had the scope of locations to be as authentic as possible.
The cinematographer and I, we decided to go handheld all the way, using natural light, not interfering with artificial light at all.
Because of the daylight dropping and everything, we would do one slate, we'd take the camera and we'd do all the angles, all the shot without cutting for 15 minutes. And it was so great for the actors.
Being alone with yourself, with your demons, with your dreams, with your life, with your past. It's a beautiful human story that feels so sincere, so true.
Here's some questions I've been asking myself. What if I forgive myself? What if I was sorry?
She had choices. She could have gone down that rabbit hole, never have returned. And she decided not to. She pulled herself out, and it's so incredibly inspiring to me. There are so many people that feel that way, and I think this film gives voice to it, and it's really powerful.
If I could go back in time, I wouldn't do a single thing differently. What if all those things I did were the things that got me here?
I didn't know about the Pacific Crest Trail until I decided to hike it.
There's really nobody who knows the trail like our organization does.
They are the people who keep this trail a real, living, wild place for all of us and for the people to come.
Pacific Crest Trail is a national scenic trail that runs from Mexico to Canada. It's a 2,650-mile trail. The highest point is Forester Pass, which is over 13,000 feet.
From our perspective, you guys are really working to make this experience seem very authentic and very real.
One of the reasons that we don't shoot wholly on the PCT is that, 60% of the PCT is actual wilderness. For good reasons, the wilderness is protected from anything mechanical, and particularly film crews.
So how many miles a day are you doing?
I'm averaging 22 at the moment.
I'm only managing about 11 or 12.
Well, first couple of weeks are always hard.
It's just been really inspiring, experiencing this incredible beauty in the world, and it makes you feel like things are going to be okay,
I thought that Cheryl's book was very true to the trail. Not only does it show both the joy and the sorrow that is possible and the hardship that's possible on the trail, but also the transformative personal experiences. That's the reason why we love the trail.
With the attention that the movie is bringing, there's going to be a lot of people that come out and hike on the PCT, and that's a wonderful thing. Some of the challenges that Cheryl faced are very real. The heat, lack of water, snow, rattlesnakes. There's quite a lot of rattlesnakes on the PCT. It's the wilderness.
There's so much respect for the natural environments we've been in. We're going to be respecting the places where we're shooting. We're going to have a really light footprint because, of course, it means a lot to anyone who loves the PCT and the wild places. Many, many people have learned about the Pacific Crest Trail because of the book, and that makes me so happy.
We're so excited about Wild because it's going to spread the word and raise awareness about the trail.
Even a child with normal feet was in love with the world after he had got a new pair of shoes. Flannery O'Connor. And Cheryl Strayed.
Just imagine every day for 94 days waking up to this and going to sleep to this and being in this day after day after day after day.
You can see where it fills you up. It makes you feel more whole.
I think it's so important that our generations continues to protect these wild places such as the Pacific Crest Trail, other national scenic trails as well. I felt so profoundly in touch with that when I was on the PCT. And so I feel like, okay, Wild is also my love song to that place.
How beautiful Oregon was until we got here, and I've just been blown away. I want audiences to see a part of the world that they've never seen on film.
The reason I decided very early on, it was more important to go somewhere that had the scope of locations, be as authentic as possible. I think there's 54, 55 locations on this movie.
We shot some scenes on the real PCT, on the real trail. It's a film about a girl going in the wilderness, so of course it was meant to be shot outside.
I'm hiking the Pacific Crest Trail. It goes from the Mexican border up to Canada. I'll be walking for the next 3 months.
Wow.
For Jean-Marc and I, we want to make sure that we capture every element of her journey, how difficult it was, but how inspiring it was, how beautiful it was.
You ever think about quitting?
Oh, only once every 2 minutes or so.
I had the impression sometimes that I was making a Western, a John Ford film, you know, with these landscapes. This tiny girl, this little figure.
You gotta be kidding me.
So many of the places we've been have been so grand. Imagine every day for 94 days waking up to this and going to sleep to this and being in this day after day after day after day.
Thank God I'm outdoorsy, right? I was like, if I wasn't a person who liked to be outside, this would have been a really hard movie to be on.
The Brute Trap location is our hardest location to get to because she's on a ledge with a very steep drop.
Did you hear where we have to go? We have to get on one ski lift and then get on another ski lift, and then we have to hike 15 minutes, and then we go to the edge of the precipice of a mountain.
Well, when we were in a production meeting and the idea of using donkeys or horses to bring equipment up, I think everyone kind of realized the challenge.
We shot very early in the morning, you know, with natural light, and as late as we could with the sunsets.
There's a sunrise and a sunset every day, and you can choose to be there for it. You can put yourself in the way of beauty.
I was so excited to go to Crater Lake because in the book, that was the one place I was like, oh, I really want to go there. It was extraordinary. It was the bluest water I've ever seen, and it's like there's a tiny mountain in the middle of it. And I think we were all just awestruck.
It couldn't have been a more beautiful day. It was sunny, warm. It was like the day that I arrived at Crater Lake in August of 1995.
You can see where it fills you up. It makes you feel more whole to be experiencing this incredible beauty in the world, and it makes you feel like things are gonna be okay, you know?